Tom Tugendhat.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is a slight irony here in the politicisation at the beginning of this debate that many of us in West Kent will remember the 2000 floods, after which the then Labour government did absolutely nothing, actually, about the bursting of the River Medway, the flooding of many areas of Tunbridge and indeed many other parts of West Kent. So I remember my first experience of flooding as a community representative, not yet an MP, but as the Conservative candidate in Tunbridge and Morling in 2013. And that Christmas was ruined for many when the Medway again burst its banks. But since then, I've been able to report some pretty good news, because actually since then, we've had some very serious investment. We've had investments into the Lye flood storage area. We've had work by the EA upstream in Penshurst. Now, there's more to do, but we have had good action there. And we've seen a lot of work protecting our towns and villages. So I'd like to remind opposition members that it's this side of the House that has done much more to protect residents from flooding, certainly more than any other party. And when I've spoken to those affected by flooding, they care about making sure it doesn't happen again and not point scoring. So I hope that we'll stick to planning on that. Now, that's exactly what this government is doing. So I hope members of all sides will remember, as I'm sure they all do, the River Medway Flood Relief Act of 1976. Regular reading for grandfather of Gould. This may seem like a small amendment to increase the height of the Lye flood storage area that we're adding now, but actually it's something that will protect many lives. The Lye storage area is a vital piece of infrastructure on the River Medway, without which the town of Tunbridge would be constantly vulnerable. And for those who are not familiar, I'd urge you to come and visit. Now the A21 is fixed, you can actually get past it. It helps store water and protect our town, and we've seen it used many times, not just in the past few weeks, but actually many times over the past years, protecting thousands of homes. And the enlargement project comes with unqualified local support. In addition to the government funding, it's been supported by Kent County Council. I have to pay tribute there to the work that the County Council has done, and to the Council leader, Roger Goff, for the efforts he has put in. And Tunbridge and Morling Borough Council, led very well by Nicholas Heslop, has done extremely impressive work as well. Now, local businesses have also chipped in and done their bit, which as a Conservative administration we believe that people should contribute to their own protection, and that's exactly what many of these businesses are doing. And one of the great successes of the government intervention after the 2013 floods, the Christmas floods, was the establishment of the Medway Flood Partnership, bringing together all the relevant organisations to develop a plan for flood relief on the Medway catchment area. I'm just going to pay tribute very briefly to my right honourable friend, who is now a Secretary of State, but then was the Flood Minister, the member for Suffolk Coastal. But now I shall give way with great pleasure.
Thank my honourable friend for giving way. I think when it comes to having private sector investment into flooding, I think perhaps the Treasury needs to be a little bit more generous and give a little bit more tax relief to make sure we actually get more private money actually in to help protect our properties and businesses.
My honourable friend is absolutely right, and I would like to see VAT relief on private flood protection that many people are forced to do for their own homes. I think that is certainly something that I very much hope the Chancellor will be listening to for the coming budget. Somehow I suspect we may have missed that one. So rather than making further points on that, I shall just move on to say thank you to a few people who have really made a huge difference. In our community, flood wardens have made a huge impact in not just making sure people are safe when a flood occurs, but actually in helping to clear culverts and report on blocked drains to make sure that floods do not accumulate, particularly for surface water flooding. Now, Carl Lewis in Tunbridge has really led the way, and I think a small thank you should go to him. And there are other people around the area who have given up or have agreed to allow private land to be used. And when I was driving from home into Tunbridge the other day, large areas of West Kent were covered by the Medway. But in Tunbridge we have issues. We've had issues this winter caused by management companies and house builders failing to look after residents. Now, this isn't a question about building on floodplains. These are buildings that are deliberately built and expertly built on floodplains with floodable garages underneath. They are specifically designed for the purpose. But those living in Riverbank House in Tunbridge were let down badly by Pembroke Property Management. Only now has the floodwater been pumped out of their car park from the flooding which occurred before Christmas. Now, Pembroke had no plan to deal with the flooding and had failed to ensure that there were working pumps in the car park, so cars remained submerged for weeks. Now, I pay particular tribute here to some of the local councillors, including Matthew Borton, who made a huge noise in making sure that constituents and residents were properly represented. But in the absence of action from property management companies, we must look at ways to ensure residents are protected and that they are not charged for the services that should already be provided, and no more so than those let down by Redrow at Waterside Reach. This is a building only 4 years old, and as the name suggests, it is specifically built next to the river. So there is more that this government can do, and I look forward very much to the government taking action and making sure that towns like Tunbridge, deliberately built by the Vikings on the river, are able to continue.